Hello all my friends, welcome back to the Branscome YouTube channel. Today I'm going to go over with you my top 5 left behind items at gigs. And when I say left behind, I'm meaning items that you just forget to grab on your way out the door to a gig. Now this list is just based off of my personal experience, things that I've left behind or things that I've seen other musicians leave behind and not bring to a gig. So let's get right into it. Alright, before I get into the top 5, I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions, okay? First honorable mention, this may come as a huge shock to you, but I have seen it happen before. Honorable mention, guitar. Yes, I have indeed played a couple of gigs where the musician, the guitar player of one of the other bands, did not bring their instrument. I've actually loaned my guitar, or one of my guitars, to a couple of guys that didn't, forgot to bring their guitars to the gig. There've been a couple moments where some guys like snapped some strings or something like that, and they didn't have a backup, so I let them, borrow my guitar. But yeah, I have had gig instances where there have been guys that literally just forgot to bring their guitar to the gig. Honorable mention number 2, I don't have an actual one, so I'm just going to use this as a reference. Cymbals. Yes, I've seen multiple drummers show up to gigs without their cymbals from personal experience. I would definitely say that that's something that you need to be able to play the drums efficiently. I wouldn't think that you'd want to be a drummer that shows up to a gig with no cymbals, because then your whole set's going to sound like George of the Jungle. Alright, let's get into my top 5 now. Now these items aren't in any particular order, I just have them sitting over here waiting to be shown. So let's get into number 5. Number 5 is speaker cable, mainly for guitar players that use an amp in a cab situation, or a head in a cab. You definitely need a speaker cable to hook the amp up to the cabinet. And there have been many instances where I've forgotten to bring a speaker cable, or so I've seen other guitar players forget to bring a speaker cable. You're probably not going to do much good for your amp turning it straight on without it being hooked up to the cabinet via the speaker cable. Alright, going into number 4, this is mainly for guitar players, a backup amp, okay? Now this is an orange micro dark. I actually just recently did a video on one of these. I've actually done a couple of videos on them. But yeah, this is definitely something that's really important to have in case your tube amp dies on stage and you need a backup. Now luckily I've never experienced a situation where I needed to use a backup amp. But I know that a lot of other guitar players do, and they just never bring a backup. And there's been a couple times where I didn't bring my backup either, so I've definitely had my share of forgetting. But nowadays a lot of the guys are going towards the modeling stuff, like the Helix and the Kempers and all that. So in that instance, you may not even need a backup because you're not messing with tubes or anything like that. But if you're still a tube amp user, it's definitely good to remember to grab your backup amp before you leave the house. All right, moving on to number 3, we've got foot switch. And once again, this is mainly for guitar players. But I've had several gigs where I forgot to bring my foot switch to the gig, and then so I had to kind of work my volume knob on the guitar for like my gain and boost purposes, as well as volume. So this is definitely something that you want to have at your gig, because it's much easier to just stomp on a switch and get your boost that way instead of having to work your volume. At least it is for me. I know some players prefer to do it that way. But if you're a foot switch user, you definitely don't want to leave this at home, because then your whole entire gig is just kind of be a living hell. All right, going on to number 2, we've got picks. Yes, once again, I'm making fun of guitar players. There have been several instances where I've seen guitar players not bring their picks, or not bring any picks to a gig at all. And then they're having to go up to the other band, hey man, can I borrow some picks? Stuff like that. Yeah, so it's definitely good to, actually what you really want to do is just bring a whole pack to a gig. Bring a pack to the gig, open it up, and that way if you drop a pick on the ground or something while you're playing, you can just instantly reach back, grab another one, and keep going. But, so it's definitely good to have a whole pack, as opposed to just even having one. But sometimes guys forget to even bring one, and then they're stuck playing with their fingernail all night. Okay, and the number 1 item on this list of mine is a tuner. Now this is mainly aimed at guys that don't have pedal boards, because most of the time when you have a pedal board, you're going to have a floor tuner on your pedal board. So this is aimed at guys mainly like myself that use clip-on tuners like this. And this is probably the item that I've forgotten to bring at gigs the most, is the clip-on tuner. And I'm always having to like borrow my other guitar player's floor tuner, or you know, maybe the bass player will bring his clip-on tuner, and I'll just have to, you know, we'll just have to swap back and forth all night. And it's very, very annoying all night to have to do that. Also, too, I want to say about these things, I have broken and lost more of these things than probably any other item that I use musically. These things, and they're not cheap either, they're like $20, you know, per purchase. So I've probably spent well over $100 at least in these little clip-on tuners, from breaking them or losing them or what have you. Well, there you go. There's my top 5 left behind items at gigs. Did I leave any out? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to keep liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Click the little bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm going to have a lot more new content here in the next several weeks. I'm hoping to start getting some friends over here that are guitar players, and I want to start, you know, talking guitars with them, start talking gear, stuff like that. So I'm hoping to get that kind of going here in the next several weeks. So thank you guys for watching, checking out the video. I'll see you guys next time. Later.